So, how many times does the left have to tell Americans what it thinks of them before Americans realize a pretty simple fact? Leftist leaders simply don't like at least half the country. In 2012, the media lost their minds over former Governor Mitt Romney's statement that 47% of Americans, quote, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe the government has a responsibility to care for them, would vote for President Obama. This apparently demonstrated Romney hated everyday Americans, disdained them, saw them as moochers. In 2008, then Senator Barack Obama claimed that small-town Americans in the Midwest are benighted hicks. He said it's not surprising they get bitter, they cling to guns, religion, or antipathy toward people who aren't like them, or anti-immigrant sentiment, or anti-trade sentiment, as a way to explain their frustrations. This received attention from the conservative press. It was downplayed by the mainstream media or brushed off as basically accurate. This weekend, Hillary Clinton echoed Obama. She said, through her robot cough, quote, to just be grossly generalistic, you could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables, right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it. And unfortunately, there are people like that. The other half of Trump supporters, Clinton said, are a little bit better. She said that other basket of people are people who feel the government has let them down. The economy has let them down. Nobody cares about them. Nobody worries about what happens to their lives and their futures. They're just desperate for change. Those are people we have to understand and empathize with as well. Clinton's language is actually more telling than Obama's. Democrats routinely see voters they don't understand as morally deficient. This provides them the comforting illusion that disagreement reflects lack of virtue, and that means they don't need actual policies to succeed. Success or failure is completely irrelevant to the ethical question of how to vote. Good people will vote for them regardless of track record. Bad people will oppose them. But Clinton's language goes even further. Where Obama labeled his opponents bad guys, Clinton actually suggests that Romney was right. Those who are her potential supporters are pathetic losers, waiting for government to save them. They're disappointed with the economy. They think the government has to do more. They just need some TLC from Clinton, and then they'll realize Trump isn't the man for them. This means the sneering tone so many people detected in Romney exists among Democrats for their own constituents. Hillary doesn't label her potential voters self-sufficient Americans seeking equal opportunity. No, not at all. They're grievance mongers, ne'er-do-wells, people who believe they're victims, who believe government has an obligation to take care of them. She thinks she can draw them to the Democratic Party. So, where are all the good Americans? To Democrats, they just don't exist. They're the deplorables and the needies, that's it. And the elites who control them. That's the scariest thing about Hillary Clinton's vision for America. Nobody deserves freedom because nobody actually wants freedom. Everyone is either a racist or in need of saving. Everyone needs a cure, either of their soul or their material well-being. And Clinton thinks she can provide that cure by crushing half of Trump supporters and co-opting the other half. She's only missing one thing. Most Trump supporters, most Americans, aren't bitter clingers or victims. They're independent human beings waiting for a candidate who wants to grant them that independence, if any of the elites are actually willing to stand up for it. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show. Alrighty, so we begin with Birch Gold, our newest sponsor. And Birch Gold, these are folks who help you reinvest your capital into precious metals. If you're scared of inflation, if you think that President Obama is inflating the currency, if you think that a recession is coming and the stock market is due for a fall, you need to talk to my friends over at Birch Gold Group. They're the people that I trust with precious metal purchases. BIRCHgold.com/Ben. They have a long-standing track record of success. They have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. And if you want a free information kit on investing in physical precious metals, then they will send you the 16-page free information kit. You should call them. You should talk with them. You should ask all your questions, get all the information. They're well equipped to give you all that information. And then if you're interested in moving your IRA or eligible 401k into an IRA backed by physical gold or silver, or if you just want to buy some gold, you need to talk to the Birch Gold Group. Again, their number is 800-496-6663, 800-496-6663. And if you want to visit them online, it's birchgold.com/Ben. And make sure you add the birchgold.com/Ben so they know that we sent you. And they're more likely to continue advertising with us, which means that we can continue providing you this magnificent show that enriches your life and makes it worth living. Okay, so lots to get to today. The Hillary Clinton campaign is in complete disarray. They're looking around and they are figuring they are screwed. They are screwed. They have serious problems. And those problems extend not just to the fact that Hillary Clinton is apparently a victim of the bubonic plague and patient zero in the stand. No, it turns out they have bigger problems than that, and that's everyone knows Hillary Clinton is lying. And this is beginning to reflect itself in all of the polls. It's now beginning to reflect itself in all of the polls. So here are some state polls out today. Bloomberg has Trump up 5 in Ohio. It's huge. Right now, Trump is doing well in Florida. Here's the way that this map breaks down. Just think of the map in your head if you have a basic knowledge of American geography. In order for Trump to win, he needs to win Iowa, he needs to win Nevada, and then he needs to he needs to hold Arizona, Georgia, Missouri, all the states that Romney held. And he needs to win Florida and Ohio. He needs to win North Carolina, and then he needs to win one more state. And that one more state could be Colorado, it could be Wisconsin, it could be Michigan, it could be Pennsylvania, it could be New Hampshire. Right now, Trump is leading in Ohio, according to the latest poll. He's leading in Florida, according to the latest poll. There are a couple different polls in North Carolina, so it's hard to tell where that one comes down. He is leading in Colorado, according to a Reuters poll today. If he wins North Carolina, he wins Colorado, Florida, and if he wins Ohio, then he wins the election. He wins well over 270 votes, and he wins the election. So suddenly, this is a very, very competitive election, and it's all because Hillary Clinton cannot stop herself from lying pathologically. That's really all it comes down to. She cannot stop herself under any circumstances from lying pathologically. And so what you got now is Democrats whistling past the graveyard, trying to figure out how they spin this thing. The American public, 50% of Americans think Hillary is lying about her health. A large plurality of Americans think she's in poor health and that she's lying about it. So the Democrats are trying to figure out how to combat this. So David Plouffe, who's a Democratic advisor, he has an idea. He says, well, if we're calling Hillary unhealthy, let's call Trump unhealthy.
And let's talk about medical records, by the way. So here's Trump, who, Dr. Feelgood put out a one-page letter. He's 70, okay? He's the heaviest president we've had, a candidate, since William Taft. There's legitimate issues. So,
you think his weight, that's a tough, you think his weight is a health challenge that he should answer?
Well, my point is, I think Clinton's going to put out more medical information this week. She should, every candidate should.
Okay, every candidate should, but Trump is the fat one. Trump is the fat hobbitses. So David Plouffe is very upset with Donald Trump being fat. Okay, this is what we call the pot calling the kettle black, because Hillary Clinton has some weight problems of her own. She actually looks like the Egyptian pyramids. But the Democrats are getting desperate, so they're throwing everything against the wall. You got Nancy Pelosi out front saying that Donald Trump is the gift that keeps on giving, except for the fact that Trump actually stopped giving gifts to the Democrats about the time Kellyanne Conway joined his campaign.
Donald Trump's changed all of that, hasn't he?
Well, he is a gift that keeps on giving. Every day that he says something, it helps us mobilize at the grassroots level, raise money, message a difference between the two parties. So he's been good. But here's the thing. Don't get too carried away by the redistricting. When we took the House in 2006, which...
Listen to this lady's dentures move around. President Obama did a rally for Hillary Clinton yesterday. He, too, is grasping at straws. The Democrats are so desperate now that now they're trying to claim the media are biased in favor of Trump. In favor of Trump. Okay, this is insane. I just did a panel discussion. I think it's going to be on PBS this Sunday with Brian Stelter of CNN, and there's a guest host for Charlie Rose. And Brian Stelter was trying to claim the same thing. The media's even-handed. Of course, I sort of shellacked Stelter over this because it just isn't true. Huffington Post actually prints a little note below all of their stories. Originally, they only covered him in the entertainment section. Then they realized they had to cover him as news. So now there's a little note after every Huffington Post story that says Donald Trump is a xenophobe and a racist who hates everybody. Right? Really, this is a note that's actually on the stories from the Huffington Post. CNN, MSNBC, they run chyrons that try to debunk Trump in real time. They've never tried to do that with Hillary Clinton. It's not that the media know how to handle Trump. They don't, because Trump is very hard to handle for the media because he takes a position, he takes at least 10 positions on every given issue, which makes it hard for them to cover him. But the media are certainly unfair to Trump. They're always looking for something to get him on. CNN was a perfect example this week with the Wolf Blitzer attempted hit on David Duke. But President Obama, he's so desperate at this point that he's saying the media are losing this for Hillary Clinton.
Well, our standards for what's normal have changed. And Donald Trump says stuff every day that used to be considered as disqualifying for being president. And yet, because he says it over and over and over again, the press just gives up. And they just say, well, yeah, okay.
Okay, so President Obama thinks the press is in favor of suddenly Donald Trump. Okay, nobody has ever gotten better press than President Obama. The man has just had worshipful coverage from the media for years, and that's how he can get away with just outright ridiculous crap like this. Yesterday he was campaigning for Hillary, and he drops this whopper.
This is a big deal. More Americans are working, more have health insurance, incomes are rising, poverty is falling, and gas is $2 a gallon. I didn't even...
Yeah, pointing to all you out there, all you people I tried to stop from drilling.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, okay, thank you for reminding me. Gas
Thanks,
is $2 a gallon.
Obama.
So President Obama's thanking himself because President Obama loves that dude. I mean, there's nobody who loves President Obama more than President Obama, except for the press. Did the press fact check this? Did the press say, well, the reason that it's under $2 a gallon right now is because the Saudis have been pumping like crazy to try and drive down the price of oil and kill the Iranian economy, and also because fracking was the only thing that created jobs during your entire tenure, basically? No, they don't fact check that, but the Democrats are getting desperate. They're so desperate that Lawrence O'Donnell on MSNBC, who hates Donald Trump, I mean, despises Donald Trump, and Lawrence O'Donnell says the media are compliant with Trump. I mean, except for him, except for him and his entire network. They're all compliant with Trump, of course.
If the news media treated the Trump campaign the way it has treated every presidential campaign prior to Trump and the other presidential campaign that is going on during the Trump campaign, the Clinton campaign, if the news media treated the Trump campaign like it treats every other campaign, Donald Trump, by now, would have been forced to retract his statement about going to war over a gesture. And Rudy Giuliani would have been forced to apologize for his comment justifying everything that has ever been done in war. But with 55 days left before the election, the American political news media still has not figured out how to deal with the Trump for President campaign, and Donald Trump knows that, and he exploits it every single day.
Here's the truth about the media and Trump. I agree that the standard has been lowered for Trump in the sense that he's not being held to the same standard as Romney, but politicians are almost always judged on their own standard, meaning that there's kind of the normal Trump that we're used to, and then there's outrageous Trump. And when it's normal Trump, the media has a hard time calling it outrageous because he's set the bar somewhere else. The bar for Trump, the bar for Romney was here, and Romney came in here. The bar for Trump is here, and he's coming in here. So because he's a little bit higher he's exceeding his own bar, the bar that we set for, and we all do this in our individual lives, right? We know people who we think are just utter crap shows of human beings, and if they hold down a steady job, that's a big win for them. And then we know people who are high-achieving bankers, and if they buy the wrong car, we think that's a bad mistake. Right? We all have our different standards for people. The media are just people, so they have that standard for Trump. But the idea that the media are treating Trump with kid gloves is absolutely laughable. The media don't know what to do about this. They're hoping that they can save Hillary Clinton. This is why when Matt Lauer grilled Hillary and then grilled Trump, they got very angry at Matt Lauer for having not grilled Trump harshly enough. They know they can't grill Lauer for being too harsh on Hillary, so instead they just say that Matt Lauer wasn't mean enough to Donald Trump. So this is the routine that they're going to play now, is that the media themselves are trying to make Trump win, which is just asinine and ridiculous. Okay, with all of that said, Donald Trump now has an opportunity, right? He has an opportunity to present his health records. So today he was on Dr. Oz, and there's a bit of confusion leading up to his appearance on Dr. Oz. Was he going to hand over his health records? Was he not going to hand over his health records? Kellyanne Conway was on TV yesterday saying that he's not going to hand over his health records.
Wow, you can laugh all you want at the medical report, but as far as I can see, there are two major party candidates running for president, and only one of them has pneumonia and lied about it, especially to the press, because she always thinks that she has. She treats you all like second-class citizens, won't have a press conference, and when she pretends to have a press avail, I'm going to be uplifting and aspirational now, then goes on to attack tens of millions of Americans the very next day.
But about health.
And then
I mean, this is
we
not
all
a medical
saw her by the
report.
van. But Allison, this is what I expect from the Clinton campaign. I really don't expect it from journalists. We're talking about Hillary Clinton and her pneumonia and what happened on 9/11, which we all saw with our own two eyes. And and it takes us about 10 words to get to Donald Trump.
Okay, so she's right about the double standard, but trying to walk back, we're not going to release Donald Trump's medical records, that's silly to us. So apparently Trump was fibbing. So apparently today on Dr. Oz, the interview is going to air tomorrow. They didn't release a summary of the results, but he did actually bring in a one-page summary of his physical conducted last week, which is different than the original announcement, which is that he was going to actually hand over his entire physical to Dr. Oz and then have Dr. Oz analyze it. Not to say I don't trust Trump on his physical health, but I don't trust Trump on anything, just like I don't trust Hillary on anything. So if he provided a one-page summary, I don't see why that's significantly better than Hillary providing a letter to the media. I'd like to see a full physical workup on both of these candidates. I don't think that that's utterly unreasonable. Well, this brings us, unfortunately, to the end of Facebook Live, but over at dailywire.com, you can still subscribe. I do want to mention, by the way, that we have a sponsor, U.S. Tax Shield, that helps us bring this show to you. U.S. Tax Shield does have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. If you have problems with the IRS, if you have issues with the IRS, if you're somebody who has had run-ins with the IRS in the past, you need to talk to my friends over at U.S. Tax Shield. They help people just like you, people with personal tax liabilities, or conservatives the IRS is targeting because President Obama hates you. So go to, if you want to visit them, online, it's ustaxshield.com/Ben. That's ustaxshield.com/Ben. Free consultation. They'll get one of their experts on the line with you and the IRS, and they'll run through the paces with you, and then they'll give you a quote, and that quote doesn't move no matter what. They also have a program that actually helps you come clean with the IRS called the Fresh Start Program, and it helps you figure out with the IRS what exactly it is that you need to pay. Their free consultation, you can get that at 800-542-2226, 800-542-2226, or visit them online at ustaxshield.com/Ben. So as I say, there's a lot more coming up here. We're going to talk about Sean Hannity's kung fu capacities, his magical kung fu abilities. We'll get to that. We will also get to Donald Trump on maternity leave, which I think is the most important news of the day, actually. But we'll talk about that. So you can go to dailywire.com to subscribe, and you can continue to watch the show live. It continues right on as though nothing ever happened. But if you don't subscribe to dailywire.com, then as Andrew Klavan is apt to say, you'll be plunged into the exterior darkness, and you'll collapse in on yourself like a black hole and suck the rest of the universe in with you. So if that's not enough of a threat to get $8 out of your pocket a month, I don't know what is. dailywire.com to do that, or if you just want to listen to the show later, iTunes or SoundCloud is the best place to do that. Alrighty.